Welcome to Commanders Daily, everybody. I'm Bob Matthews. This is your one-stop shop for everything going on with the local 53. We're delighted that you've joined us. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button and leave your comments below. We will, if you got any questions, we will try to address them. Okay, day one of rookie minicamp, and that is where we're starting today. And yeah, we're going to have to wait another day to see all of the kids. Bad weather in the DMV means that they went inside. Reporters not getting to see any of the players until tomorrow. Tomorrow is also when Dan Quinn is going to talk for the first time since the draft. Now, obviously, we're not going to see a whole lot of anything these next couple of days because the players are all going to be in shells. We'll want to see the matchups with the rookie cornerbacks and the wide receivers and all of that, but by and large, Trey Amos, by and large, you're not going to see a whole lot. You'll get to see how the guys move around a little bit. We'll get to talk to them after practice. But other than that, until they get into full gear in training camp, not going to be a whole lot to see. Still, this time of the year, that's what we want. Want to at least get a measure of the guys that the Commanders have just signed, see how they're going to fit in. Want to talk today, now that we have gotten past the draft and we've gotten past the first round of free agency. A lot of talk about, what do the Commanders still need? And is there anything out there that can possibly, anybody out there that can possibly help them? And came up with a couple of names that we want to go over here today because this team still needs some depth at linebacker. We talked about that yesterday. Hey, if Frankie Louvu or Bobby Wagner gets hurt, this team could have a lot of problems. And also, Adam Peters didn't address the edge in the draft. We're going on the assumption that Adam Peters of the front office feels there is enough veteran talent out there right now that's either available now or going to be available in the next, couple of months, post-June 1st designations, all that kind of stuff, that can help the team for now. You're not looking to sign anybody long-term, a year, maybe two tops, because all of the people that you're talking about now are veterans. A lot of them past the age of 30. So, it's a question of how many good years of football they have left. But there are some names out there that are kind of intriguing and that might make sense for this team and can shore things up, at least in the short term for 2025. First one I want to look at is Matthew Judon. Very interesting case here. Now, Judon, of course, again, here's a guy who has been in the league for a while. He was drafted in 2016, Baltimore, New England, last year with Atlanta, and had somewhat of a down year, only 6 sacks. But you might remember, he's only 3 and 4 years removed, rather, from a 14 and a 17 sack season with New England. That would be 2021 and 2022. Is that the kind of a guy, if you think he's healthy, and if last year was somewhat of an aberration, could certainly help at edge? Remember, right now, the bar is set pretty low, so, anything is possible. Again, if you think he can help, you can't really look at his performance last year because you say that was an aberration. It was just one of those things. He just had a down year. And so, you have to go back to look at, again, say 2023 or 2022 or 2021. And, again, in those years, 23 was hurt, but, got almost 500 snaps in 22, or over 800 snaps, rather, in 2022 and 900 in 2021. In those 2 years, he had 31 sacks. If he is healthy, could be a very interesting fit for the Commanders here coming up this year. Again, we'll have to see what happens as we go forward into training camp. Second one that I want to talk about is Eric Kendricks. Again, helps you on the edge, both on the edge and at linebacker, both inside and outside. Again, Kendricks is one of those guys, veteran, former second-round pick, but you look at his numbers and had a pretty good year last year, for Dallas. You look at his numbers, he was fairly consistent. Had a really good game against the Commanders in Washington, had a good game against the Commanders in Dallas, to close out the year. And when you look at his PFF numbers, majority of everything is in the 70s, and he even hit 80 in a couple of games. And when you look at that overall, that overall defensive rating on PFF, remember again, a rating of 70 by PFF is what they consider a good quality starter. A grade of 80 is considered elite, and a rating of 90 is considered an all-pro. And Kendricks last year wound up grading out at 75.2 by PFF. And it was not what you would consider a career year for him. I mean, he was elite. He had a couple of elite years with the Vikings. Now, again, that was back in 2018 and 2019. But still, if you're looking for somebody that can provide some depth at the linebacker position, Kendricks, again, could be a guy that the front office will look at. It also depends on how he fits into Dan Quinn and Joe Witt Jr.'s schemes. Then I guess the biggest of the most recognizable name out there would be Javian Clowney. All right, so, again, same type of situation. This is not somebody for the future. This is somebody to help you right now. Clowney never really lived up to the hype when it came to sacks. But you also have to realize that, the first 5 years of his career, he was playing with J.J. Watt, who, took up a lot of that sack total. Did have 2 good years in Cleveland in 21 and 2019 with Seattle, rather, in 2021 with Cleveland when he had, or no, I'm sorry, I'm reading that wrong. 2021 and 2023 with Baltimore. He had 11 sacks each of those years. Again, coming off a 6-sack year last year. But again, even though the sack totals weren't, I think, what a lot of people thought coming out of college, Javian Clowney is still performing at a pretty good level. Is he the same guy he was when he entered the league? Of course not. Nobody is. But he still had a really solid year for Carolina last year. And again, if you can get him at the right price, not too much guaranteed money, I think, he could be a very, very interesting addition to the defensive line. And I think it's, since he's just become available recently, I definitely think that is somebody that the Commanders front office is looking at to bolster that pass rush. All right, that's going to do it for us today. Again, rookies will be on the field on Saturday afternoon. So check back with us Monday. We should have some, at least some impressions of how everybody looked first day of camp. We can get a little bit of a sense of how these kids in the draft class and the UDFAs looked. Don't forget, hit that like and subscribe button. We are thrilled that you're joining us. Leave us some comments in the comment section. We'll try to get to them next week. And remember, like the wise man once said, if you're out on your bike tonight, as always, do wear white.